Today, we're talking about when the United States NukeMogged Japan, taking them from a country roamed by fierce warriors for centuries to a generation of leaders in anime. Picture this. It's a bright Tuesday morning in Hiroshima, 1945. Moms are nuking breakfast, pun intended. Kids are walking to school. Normal day, nothing special. Then the sky rips open brighter than 1,000 suns. 8 seconds later, one single bomb erases an entire city in the blink of an eye. This is the exact moment America dropped the ultimate cheat code on Japan and nuke-mogged them so hard World War II ended in just 9 days. By summer 1945, Japan is getting absolutely cooked on every front. Germany surrendered back in May, Hitler's gone. Europe's done. But Japan, straight up just a maxing trying to still fight like it's 1941. Their navy basically at the bottom of the ocean, their air force running on kamikaze fumes, their cities getting turned into firestorms by American B-29 raids. On a single night in March 1945, a raid on Tokyo created a firestorm that killed over 100,000 people, more immediate deaths than would later occur at Hiroshima. But here's the wild part. Japan's leaders were just a maxing like no one's ever seen. They refused to accept reality. They were training school kids with sharpened bamboo spears. Grandmas were learning how to throw grenades. Their official war plan was literally called the glorious death of 100 million. Every single Japanese person, man, woman, child, was ordered to fight to the death rather than surrender. The goal was to inflict such horrific casualties on the invaders that America would be forced to offer a negotiated peace, allowing the militarist regime to survive. America looks at the invasion plan, Operation Downfall, and the numbers are nightmare fuel. It was set to be the largest amphibious assault in history, dwarfing D-Day. The casualty predictions were apocalyptic. Studies estimated that the United States could suffer between 400,000 and 800,000 fatalities, with total casualties as high as 4 million. For Japan, the estimates were between 5 and 10 million dead. President Harry Truman, new to his office, was staring at a potential bloodbath that would make every other battle of the war pale in comparison. President Truman gets the briefings and basically goes, "Nah, we're not sending our boys into that meat grinder." So he greenlights a weapon born from a scientific race against Nazi Germany. It was called the Manhattan Project. Japan finds out why America doesn't have free healthcare. The Manhattan Project was the most expensive, most insane science flex ever attempted. Cost over $2 billion in 1945. That's like $30 billion today. 120,000 people working on it. Most had no idea what they were actually building. During the rush to build the first atomic bombs in World War II, scientists worked on 2 separate designs at the same time. They did this because they weren't sure if either one would actually work. It was like placing 2 bets to increase their chances of success, all while racing against time with huge risks involved. Little Boy was the simpler design, using uranium. It worked like a gun. It shot one piece of uranium into another at super fast speed to start a massive explosion. Even though it seemed basic, it was scary because it could release enormous heat and destruction in an instant. Fat Man was much more complex, using plutonium. It squeezed a ball of plutonium with explosions from all sides at exactly the same moment to make it go supercritical and blow up. This round, bulky bomb was way stronger and showed off advanced science, but it also carried big dangers. At exactly 5:29 a.m., the gadget, as they nicknamed the test bomb, exploded with the force of about 20,000 tons of TNT. The blast created a massive fireball that rose thousands of feet into the air, turning the night sky as bright as daytime and lighting up the desert sands like a gateway to the sun itself had cracked open. The shockwave rattled windows over 100 miles away, and a mushroom cloud climbed to 40,000 feet, scattering radioactive fallout that would later raise health concerns. The scientists watching from bunkers miles away felt a mix of awe, triumph, and deep dread. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the project's leader, famously quoted an ancient text, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Others cheered at the success that meant the bomb was viable, but many were haunted by the moral weight. They knew this power could end the war, but at a horrifying human cost, forever changing warfare and the world. Truman gets the news while he's at the Potsdam conference with Stalin and Churchill. He casually drops to Stalin, "We have a new weapon of unusual destructive force." Stalin already knew from spies, But still, on July 26, the Allies issued a final ultimatum, the Potsdam Declaration. It called for Japan's unconditional surrender and gave a stark warning. The alternative was prompt and utter destruction. They were gestamaxing and ignored it. So Truman makes the call to NukeMogged. August 6, 1945, 8:15 a.m., Hiroshima. The B-29 Enola Gay, piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets, flies over the city at 31,000 feet. Little boy falls for 43 seconds. During that time, the Enola Gay executed a steep 155-degree diving turn to escape. At an altitude of 1,900 feet, the bomb detonated. In that instant, Hiroshima vanished. 70,000 to 80,000 people instantly vaporized. The heat reached 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to melt steel. People half a mile away turned into human shadows, burned into walls and sidewalks. The blast wave flattened everything within a mile. 69% of the city's buildings were instantly destroyed. The blast was followed by ferocious winds that rushed back towards the epicenter, feeding countless fires that soon merged into a single, monstrous firestorm. Then came a strange, horrifying black rain. The massive mushroom cloud had sucked up dust, debris, and radioactive particles, which fell back to Earth as a sticky, dark poison, contaminating the ground and those who desperately drank from rivers to soothe their burns. An estimated 90% of Hiroshima's doctors and nurses were killed or injured. 42 of the city's 45 hospitals were gone. The survivors, dazed and horribly injured, stumbled through the burning ruins in a ghostly procession, their skin hanging off in sheets. Survivors later described it as the end of the world. One man said the city looked like a giant graveyard of broken matchsticks. Japan's military high command in Tokyo, they get reports and literally say, this must have been a massive firebombing raid, probably just one really big bomb, so they still don't surrender. August 9th, 1945, Nagasaki. The original target was Kokura, but clouds saved it, so they fly to the backup, Nagasaki. The B-29 assigned to carry it was named Boxcar. At 11:02 a.m. we release Fat Man. The bomb detonated almost directly between two of the main Mitsubishi factories, its force equivalent to 21,000 tons of TNT. Everything in the Urakami Valley was obliterated. Steel-framed factory buildings were twisted into unrecognizable shapes. Because Nagasaki was built on hilly terrain, parts of the city were shielded from the initial blast. The destruction, while absolute in the valley, was not as widespread as in Hiroshima, but for those caught in the valley, the result was the same. An estimated 40,000 people were killed instantly. By the end of 1945, the death toll would climb to around 74,000. For both cities by December 1945, around 210,000 dead. The second bomb finally breaks the gestamaxing, but Japan still takes 6 more days to officially surrender. August 9th, same day as Nagasaki, the Soviet Union launches a massive invasion of Japanese-held Manchuria. They destroy Japan's last big army in under a week. Now Japan is getting punched from both sides. Japan's military leaders had believed America only had one bomb. They were wrong. Now they face the terrifying prospect of being nuke-mogged into oblivion, one city at a time. The idea that they could withstand an invasion while their cities were being deleted one by one was pure fantasy. The emperor finally steps in to surrender. The decision was made, but on the morning of August 14th, a group of young army officers launched a coup. They stormed the imperial palace, trying to find and destroy the phonograph recording of the emperor's surrender speech, scheduled to be broadcast the next day. They ransacked the palace for hours, but the records, hidden in a laundry basket, had been smuggled to safety. The coup failed. At noon on August 15, 1945, for the first time in history, the people of Japan heard the voice of their emperor. He never used the word surrender, stating only that the government had been told to accept the Allied declaration. He spoke of how the war situation has developed not necessarily to Japan's advantage, and referenced the enemy's new and most cruel bomb, the power of which to do damage is indeed incalculable. An announcer then had to clarify in plain language what it all meant. The war was over. Japan officially surrenders on September 2nd aboard the USS Missouri. The war that killed 70 to 85 million people, 3% of the entire world's population, ended because of 2 bombs dropped in less than 72 hours. Now the part that still starts World War III in comment sections. American side, invasion would have killed up to 1 million Americans and millions more Japanese. Japan started it with Pearl Harbor and refused to surrender after being warned. The bombs actually saved lives in the long run. Japanese and many historians side, targeting civilians is never okay. Japan was already trying to negotiate surrender through the Soviets. Some say the real reason was to scare Stalin and show the world who the new boss was. There's no clean Hollywood ending. On August 6, 1945, nuclear weapons entered the chat, and they've never left. In the years after, Hiroshima and Nagasaki rebuilt themselves into beautiful, peaceful cities. Today, they're symbols of hope and warnings at the same time. The atomic bomb dome in Hiroshima still stands as a UNESCO site, a reminder of how hard America nuke-mogged them. The bombing started the nuclear age, the Cold War, the arms race, mutually assured destruction. Every single nuclear treaty since then traces back to those 2 mornings in 1945. So yeah, that's how America nuke-mogged Japan and ended the deadliest war in human history in under 2 weeks. Was dropping the bombs the right call? I don't know, but don't forget to drop a like below. Drop your most base take in the comments. I read every single one, even the spicy ones. I'll see you on the next one. Until then, stay classy, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.